people who have been coming here. A quick, brief introduction about him. He has been a monk for the last 50 years. 50 years. He has been a monk serving Shri Ramakrishna, Gaura, Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, Maharani, Prabhupada and the Iskcon movement. He's also very known as the walking monk. And why he's called a walking monk, briefly to tell you, he has walked across the continents, I would say. I don't even want to say countries because he has walked across Canada 4 times, he has walked across US, Ireland, Trinidad, Guyana, Fiji, and so many other places that I don't even remember. And today, he walked from, perhaps he was in Nathan Phillips Square doing Kirtan for 4 hours, and now he's here. He's definitely known for his amazing devotional dramas, Kirtans, and so many other aspects. So today, we'll get to we'll be enlightened by this session. So we'll say Hari Bol to Maharaj as well. One more time, Hari Bol! So thank you so much, Maharaj, for your time today.
Thank you, Hari Bol. I don't need that. Thanks. We'll sing Jai Radha Madhava and we'll make it brief. I'm not given so much time and I'm not complaining about that. Later on I'll complain about it. All right, so here we go. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari and happy Holi to all of you. Hare Krishna. Jai. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Thank you very much. So we'll get right into talking about the important personality that we've come here to celebrate. By the way, I just came from India, that's why my voice is a little bit off. So forgive me for that. And And I did go to the place where Chaitanya was born, and that happened by solar calendar, February the 18th, 1486, and I was one of the lucky people to be there at a solar eclipse. My first time to India was in '78, and we all went to the Ganga. It was nighttime, and I say we, I mean all of the pilgrims arrived there, and we went to the water, submerged ourselves in the Ganges water. We chanted our Gayatri there, we had some kirtan, we got a little playful, which is a big part of our culture, to be a little bit like frivolous sometimes. And we were also watching, well, maybe you're not supposed to look at the moon so much at the time, but Rahu was indeed, like say, devouring the moon, eclipsing it. It was a lunar eclipse. That was really nice. And a very esteemed, big supporter of our community here and the movement at large, Professor Joseph D. O'Connell, who was a teacher at University of Toronto. He was there with us at that time. He didn't actually go in the water, but he did have it. Usually, anytime I've seen him, he's got his fancy suit on and everything like that. But this time, he had, his white yogi pants on and a kurta on, and he was very much with us, the devotees from Toronto. Okay, so that's the birthplace. Place called Mayapur. It's Iskcon's headquarters. And the place where Mahaprabhu or Chaitanya was born was not so far from that site where we bathed in the Ganges. He was born by a neem tree, and his parents named him Vishwamar, which means maintainer of the world. His, let's say, a good friend, Advaitacharya's wife, Sita Thakurani, named him Nimai because he was born under a neem tree. And a neem tree in Bengal is like a maple tree is to Canadians. It's got properties that take care of leprosy issues that you may have. It keeps the bugs out. Mosquitoes don't like it. And if you go to Bengal and you take some of the leaves and make it into a pulp with water, and you roll it into a little ball and you swallow it, it's quite bitter, but it keeps all those pesky little things off. So the Nimai is great. How many people have used neem soap? How many people have used neem toothpaste? Okay. So Mahaprabhu was named after that. And other names came along. Gaura when he was very young. And Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we hope you don't get confused when I interchange with these different names of the Lord. He is to be an incarnate of Sri Krishna. That prophecy was given. And when he was born, an acquaintance, Nilambar Chakravarti, an astrologer and an astronomer at that time, saw not only that because of the positions of the planets at the time as to when he was born, but also because of his symptoms on his body, just the features of his face, the ends of his hands and the ends of his feet indicated that he was not an ordinary human being, but God himself. Some beautiful pastimes about him was that if the Lord Chaitanya, the Lord would cry, and the reason why he did this was a sort of a device to get everyone to chant Hare Krishna. So from the very beginning, as an infant, he was committed to chanting the names of the Lord. He's the father of the holy name. In fact, he's the Yuga avatar. He's the avatar for this age, which is a very dark age when people are not very faithful and they're very committed to self-centeredness. He brought to the world and emphasized chanting Krishna's name. The chanting mantras was always a big part of Vedic culture in India, but never was it emphasized so much like when he came. And he emphasized especially the Mahamantra. He was a great pundit. He had young students. When he was quite young, He was considered a child prodigy and like a genius. And he did indeed demonstrate those kind of qualities of being very smart, very sharp. And when we talk about the Maha Mantra, it's particularly the Maha Mantra, which goes like this: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He was born in the district of Nadia, which is in West Bengal, a 4-hour, very serious bumpy ride from Kolkata. Of course, they're building slowly like a snail. A nice 4 or 6 lane highway. I don't know if any of you had the good fortune of being in that highway, but it is a great improvement from what was there. And his father had moved from East Bengal to West Bengal because he wanted to get training by Nilamar Chakravarti. He was like the family priest. So Mahaprabhu, as he grew up, let's talk about a little bit of his infancy. There was a snake that came around. I don't know if it's a cobra, it didn't get very specific. But in the front yard of the home of Jagannath Mishra, and the Lord just saw him as a plaything. In fact, the snake was quite silent, and he was just a baby at the time. People didn't have his eye on him at the moment, but he just decided to lie on the snake. The snake didn't bother him, didn't bite him. It's a little bit of like a leela, or a pastime of Vishnu who lies on the massive snake, Nagas, right? There were a couple of, once it was noted that he might have been in trouble, everyone got all upset, the family and so on, but nothing to worry about. Just like my friends here in any Russian community, Ukrainian, I think my favorite line from all of you is that, no problem. No problem. Is that true? Yeah. No problem. And I like that phrase. It's just it's a beautiful, therapeutical mantra, I guess you can say. No problem. After all, Krishna says in the Gita, no problem. At the end, 1866, you can check it out. Mahashicha, no problem. Okay? But you have to surrender. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then a few other instances. There's this Vedic celebration that goes on when you're a child, an infant, maybe a few months to a year old, where parents make an arrangement where you have Shastra. Shastra means scripture, like Bhagavad Gita, and some ornaments like silver and gold and items. And the child is left to determine, his future is determined, his character's career even, by what he's attracted to. And if he touches, the rich items, that means he'll be into this a little bit, into the business side of life. But if that child goes directly to the Shastra and touches it, it means that he's meant for higher things. So that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did. Also in the front yard, not only snakes would come around, but his parents endowed with him, his mother especially, all kinds of ornaments, earrings and ornaments around here and bracelets and ankle bells and so on. There were a couple of no good for nothing, let's say dacoits, let's say. They said, we'll steal this child. We'll take all of his, because he's got so much, he's worth a lot. So we don't know exactly what they were going to do with him, but they were really not interested in the child at all, but in the jewelry and the riches that he was wearing. So they went around the neighborhood and they went through kind of like a maze of streets, and somehow or other Yoga Maya had influenced them to the point where are we? And in the meantime, the parents and neighbors were looking, family members, where did he go? Where did our Nimai go? Oh no, he's been kidnapped, he's lost. And so the two thieves just ended up did a full circle, and they ended up in the front yard where everyone was, there he is! And then they just took off. How did that happen? How did we end up in the same front yard? So the Lord was saved. Of course, we can say he saved himself. A few other important things. There's this beautiful pastimes of the Lord in his relationship with, well, when he was young, there was an expectation that he would get married because his sisters at birth, all 8 of them in a row, pretty much, passed away at birth. And then finally a boy was born. His name was Vishwarup, and he didn't die, but he more or less socially died because he took sannyas. He left home and became a monk. And so his parents were quite frustrated, especially the mom, Mother Sachi. And so when Mahaprabhu was born, they decided that we're going to fix him up and we're going to make sure that he gets married when he's young. So we used to go to the Ganges, and there's this beautiful young girl, like a young Lakshmi, who went to the Ganga as well to collect water. And they got to see each other eye to eye. And it was love at first sight. But it wasn't first sight because this girl, her name was Lakshmi Priya. She's known to be permanently Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. And Chaitanya is not different from Narayan. These male and female divinities are very strongly bound forever. So it was that the Lord, that is Mahaprabhu, went to see his mom. He came back from visiting the Ganges. And he said, "Mom, I met someone, at the river." And she said, "Oh, okay. Oh, all right." I met someone, that means something. So she made all arrangements for them to be married. And what's unfortunate in that circumstance is that she passed away, the girl, young Lakshmi, she passed away. The Leela, the pastime, is that she died from a snake bite. So then there was an arrangement made for another marriage, Vishnu Priya. Now in this case, Mother Sachi thought that I could really, he's now grounded for life. He can't go anywhere. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was an extraordinary person. He's not just an ordinary individual. He doesn't follow regular protocol or the social conventions. He decided that he was going to take, for different reasons, sannyas or be a monk at the early stage of his life. In fact, he was 24 years old, and that's pretty early for becoming a monk officially. In our movement, the Hare Krishna movement, if someone thinks about being a renounced person, what it means is that we have a system which runs through our sannyas services, or those who are thinking about taking sannyas. You have to at least be in your 40s. You have to have permission from your wife, and if she's okay with it, to depart from those responsibilities as they have been taken care of, and then becoming a wandering mendicant, and just go out and be a teacher, be a guru for people whoever you meet. That's what it means to be a monk. I did meet someone the other day, and he was quite sincere, and he was in his 40s, and he did say, I asked him, this is my regular question, how are you doing? How's your family? Everything's okay. What do you do? I said, well, I'm not. He was hesitating a little bit. Well, you're unemployed right now. Okay. But you're looking. He said, well, I'm not really looking. I'm thinking about spiritual life. And I kind of gave him a tip. I don't know if that's a good idea at your age to take up a renounced life at this age, since you have a dependent, a young teenager, and you have a wife. Well, she's paying the bills, she's working. And when I really tried to probe him, I asked him, well, what are you doing devotionally? Well, that's why I've come here. I've come here to take advice, to be spiritual. So I gave him some hints as to what he can do when he can come here and visit. And I don't take these kind of scenarios very seriously, but some people are genuine in their wanting to be 100%, 10%. engaged in spirituality. So anyways, I wish him the best. Let's go back to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was a great teacher. When he was young, he learned a philosophy by sitting on the ground and chewing away at some dirt. Now, he was also in the midst of all these terracotta pots. If you go to Bengal, it's a place of a lot of mud, and it's good mud. And have you ever drank water or nimbu pani, like lemonade, without the black salt in it? And you put your lips to the drink, and it's very porous, and sometimes your lips stick to the pot. Anyways, either through that method, people drink, even to this day. Yogurt is kept in these pots, and you cook in them too. And Mahaprabhu, as a young boy, he was sitting in the midst of all these pots and dirt. And just like Krishna ate dirt, you know the pastime. Maybe you know, maybe you don't know. Look it up, 10th canto. The Lord was justifying his eating this dirt. He said, Mother, everything's a transformation of dirt. You know, a banana is a transformation of dirt. The clothes we wear, everything's a transfer. The house we live in, the hut, everything's dirt. It's one of the 5 elements that make up the world. I guess we're looking to some of the pastime, right? Somebody struggling to get it together. Anyways, Hare Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was saying, I think that I can eat this dirt and it's not a problem. There's a lot of nutrients there. And then his mother told him something that was quite magical to his ears. And she said, well, you know, it's not quite like that. If you take dirt and it becomes useful by making a pot and you can carry water in it. But if you just have some mud and you expect to carry water in just mud, a slab of mud, it doesn't really do this same job. So she was just talking about distinction versus oneness. And this philosophy is known as Achintya Veda Veda Tattva. Achintya means inconceivable. And Abeda Veda Tattva means truth. And Veda Abeda means oneness but difference. Have you heard the phrase before? Oneness and difference, unity and diversity. So that amongst all the great teachers, acharyas, that have come from India, nobody has emphasized it like he has. There's Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, followed by Madhavacharya, and there's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They all had their own tattvas that they were presenting, their idea of truth. And but it was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who really modified everything and helped us to understand you are not God, you are part of God, as Krishna indicates in the Bhagavad Gita. You are a little sample God, but you're not God in full. You are simultaneously one but different. So we are like God, we have many features of God, but we don't have the same quantity of the qualities of God. So you can look at that philosophy, Achintya Veda Veda Tattva, which he taught, and made a big deal about it all over. Mahaprabhu came in a time when India was going through a Renaissance period. It was kind of very materialistic, and there was a lot of saints at that time. Most of you know Mirabai, Guru Nanak, and others, who, and Mahaprabhu was probably at the top of the list, who promoted this concept of bhakti, personalism. And at the same time, while there was that kind of renaissance going on, in Europe there was a renaissance. And people were sort of considering, well, maybe the church isn't giving me salvation. Maybe science is, or something called humanism. So all the great famous painters of Europe, they started to change their subject matters. They went from holy or religious, let's say, subjects to something more humanistic, and finally ended up, being fairly mundane. So India was going through a renaissance. There were a lot of let's say, luminaries like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then in Europe, there was also a kind of renaissance going on. The Protestant movement started at that time. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was kind of a Protestant. He was protesting a lot of what Brahmins and Pundits were doing at that time. They weren't doing their job. And the job of a Pandit or a Brahmin is to insert or infuse in a person's life something called Brahman, spiritualism. And that's what's lacking in the world today. We just don't have enough spirituality about us. A group of us went down to Yonge Street, and it's the March break. You know. Right, I get the hint. And it was March break, and I didn't see too many spiritual things going on there, so we thought it was important on this birthday that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be celebrated and known. We would offer a gift to him on his birthday by chanting on the street. So it started off with one person, Gabriel was there, and I came, and there was another person, and it built up to be about 25 people. We didn't expect that. 25 people chanting and ending up at the Nathan Phillips Square and letting people know that life is good, life is glorious, especially when you're in the fast lane. And the fast lane, in terms of evolution, is to get spiritual. So we're encouraging everyone to take to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood, which is to surrender to the Lord, become committed to what we call bhakti, service, and exercise sarva dharman parijajya mamikam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashami mashuchaha. That last phrase, mashuchaha, no problems, no worries. Okay, so, when no worries, when what? When you surrender. When you give up all other identifications of yourself, and when passport doesn't mean very much, and when you just submit yourself to Krishna by your own will, Krishna agrees to take all the pop, all the sin away from you, and award you with moksha, liberation. That's the deal. It's a good one, and he takes stress away from you. So that's what it's all about. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came here to this world as a revolutionary, a radical, and many of the people that joined the Hare Krishna movement in the early days were radical people. We liked Mahaprabhu very much because he'd stand up, he was gutsy, and he would stand up against those things that were wrong. So I ask you, are there some things going wrong in this world? You just do something for me. Are there some things going on wrong here in this world? Okay, can you say yes? Yes. Okay, that's more like it. And there's need for change. There's need for a different way of looking at the world. It's not my world, it's God's world. It's not just for me to enjoy, but it's for me to utilize and offer it back to God who gave it all to us. And that God is Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very expert at teaching the joys of Krishna and love of Krishna. He came here with a very light complexion, like that of Radha, but he had the physical features of Krishna. He also carried the sentiment of Radha, which is feeling of separation from God. Have you ever felt separation from someone? Yes. Parents, yeah, homesick. They're over there, I'm over here. Have you ever been in love? You know what I mean? Puppy love, you felt. And then that person broke it off, the relationship. And the feeling of separation is like you thought you were gonna die. You're gonna kill yourself. But you don't, you move on. And it's not the end of the world, you know, so. In fact, there's no end to this world, especially on the devotional track. You know, so let's just keep that in mind. Our practices are to keep us permanently situated at Krishna's lotus feet. So it is the best thing to do, most enchanting thing to do with your life is to chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Whether you are in a sorrowful condition or a happy condition, whether you're married and you have a relationship, or not married, you're single, it doesn't matter. Bhaktimarga Thakur, one of the great followers of Krishna and Chaitanya, said it doesn't matter. Just embrace this holy name, put it to your heart, and chant as much as you can. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Let's give a big round of applause for His Holiness Bhaktimarga Swami.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. I'm a little late, but I started late. Their fault. Hare Krishna.
So, we would, if you really liked hearing those pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and would like to go deeper, we have a special opportunity to take home the Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is a set of books. You could basically say an encyclopedia all about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And there's a special deal available today. This deal launched on Nityananda Tirudasi and is coming to a close soon, so don't miss the opportunity. And of course, today is the perfect opportunity to take home the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We'd also like to thank a lot of the devotees who helped make this program possible today. So we'd like to start by thanking our sponsors. Ragini Mataji has sponsored today's garlands. Gopal Singh, Kumari Mataji, and Anjaneya, their new addition to their family, has sponsored the feast. Rupanuga Prabhu has also sponsored the feast. Ramananda Roy Prabhu has sponsored the flower abhisheka. Satyabhama Mataji has partially sponsored the deity dress. We have an anonymous devotee who has sponsored the rest of the deity dress on behalf of his mother. And we have another anonymous devotee who sponsored the new night outfit that was offered today at Mangalarati. So we'd like to thank all of these sponsors as well as all of our pujaris. As you can see, the altars and the deities are beautifully decorated. The pujaris have been working tirelessly this morning. We actually had a little delayed darshan today after a while, but we haven't had that in a few years. But you can see it took time to get their lordships looking their best. We'd like to give a special thanks to all our pujaris. Also, all the volunteers that have helped make this festival possible, including the decor team headed by Puja Mataji, as well as the cooks. So today's cooks for the feast are Sachi Mata Devidasi, Radhapriya Mataji, Mukesh Prabhu, Ritvik Prabhu, and Suchara Padma Devidasi. So please give them all a round of applause. Additionally, there have been many devotees who have brought and made offerings for their Lordship Sri Gaura on this auspicious day. Over 200 preparations were offered today. And so to thank everyone who has made this festival happen. Let's thank them the best way possible by chanting the Mahamantra together. I'll ask Maharaj to lead.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So now we will be beginning the abhishek or the bathing ceremony. So I would ask just everyone can move back a little bit just to allow a little space.